Okay, I skipped past a speaker. I'm really sorry. Mr. Rueben George, Sundance Chief, Director of Community Development, member of the Tsleil-Waututh Nation. I'm so sorry about that, and thank you, Councillor Cadman, for being a little bit more on the ball than I am.
Chief School Stance Not to Tsleil-Waututh, Chief Yopanance Not to Tsleil-Waututh Squamish. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm going to share a little story about tribalism of my people, of this traditional territory and that we're standing on. And what I said in my language, I introduced myself in my traditional name, and I welcomed you to the traditional territory first. And it's sort of odd that I come 22nd when I should be first, but I was late calling in. But thank you anyway. A little the story about tribalism. Even during my time, with some things that have been passed on is as you know, Tsleil-Waututh is located close to Kate's Park. In that area, the tide goes out. When the tide goes out, some of the crabs get stuck in the mud, and you could go and you could pick them up and you could take them home and eat them, and clams too. And at times there's oysters, and there's abundance of fish and things that we used to eat from when I was a kid. And there's streams that were close that had I remember like 30 years ago, there's one close to my house called McCartney Creek. And some of the salmon runs, there'd be thousands and thousands and thousands. And of course, with the fecal coliform levels are so high that it's unsafe for some of that to be eaten. But when we were eating and when we were taking care of it, what I'm talking about tribalism is we took care of it too, and we took what we need. We took what we needed, and we always gave back a little too. It's part of our tradition, that how we've been taught that the shells of the crab and everything we give back to the ocean, and we say thank you. So with that idea, we incorporated that integrity of what we do. As myself as Director of Community Development, I oversee education, employment, and social services, and I incorporated those beliefs into everything that I do. My grandfather said, he was Chief Evangelist, he said, anything you learn in college and university about healing, there's a native teaching that says the same thing. 12 years ago, I put this to the test when I was director of a youth healing center. We created a reference library, and I hired 10 elders and 2 psychologists, and we looked at any model, and we did translate it. We did translate some of the work of that and put it to legends and stories and teachings. That's what we do in my department. But what I've seen in the short time, I'm from Tsleil-Waututh, but they just hired me recently, and what I've seen in the short time working there, they incorporated those ideas also into our economic development. They incorporated that into our land and treaty of how we monitor the parks, how we co-manage with the city of North Vancouver and the others in our traditional territory. We put the same integrity of what I talked about in those waters into all the work that we do. And the investments that we make are green, with the windmills and other investments. And we're always listening, we're always open, we're always looking to what more we could do as a nation, guided by the tribalism, what I'm talking about, from our ancestors, the wisdom held from our elders that are put to me to put to work. And I'm really thankful for the initiative that Vancouver has set. 125 years in the anniversary that we just had, the initiative that we have set to be 2000 in a short time to be the greenest city. But I wonder myself, how could we be the greenest city when we have oil tankers going through my traditional territory? Millions of dollars. I commend everybody here who's here that are talking about the environment. But how much of those oil tankers that are going through, just one oil tanker, and millions of dollars, billions of dollars are going through our traditional territory, what we share with each and every one of you. How much is that going to affect the environment when that's one of our goals is to be one of the greenest cities in the world? That's just a thought that I wanted to share. It's a concern that I have, some direction from my ancestry, and some direction from the original people from this land and what I talk about in tribalism, of these teachings handed down, and handed down. I encourage you, our leaders of Vancouver, to take some of that and apply it to how you're going to do your work here. And I look forward to sharing with you more, collaborating with you more on this initiative, and other initiatives like this in our traditional territory of the Tsleil-Waututh people. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And Mayor Robertson had a question for you.
Well, I want to thank you for coming and for hosting us here in your territory, and for raising the bigger concerns about our impact on the rest of the world, and the fact that this place is now a conduit for oil and gas, mining operations, all kinds of international trade, and some of it which imperils our waters, our beaches, our ecosystems, and we share that concern. We certainly had raised those concerns a year ago, last summer, when it first came to light that there was a big increase in the tanker traffic, and we expressed concerns about the process, what was going to take place with the next steps. We asked the Metro Vancouver Ports Committee to pay some attention to this and keep us informed of what happens next, and now have again recently heard that there's a plan to scale up significantly even more, with many more tankers, bigger pipeline volume.
Dredging out the inlet and making it deeper, which is unacceptable when we talk about tribalism too. All of our nations here, many different nations that I see, we have stories of beginning of how man started. And one of the stories that we came from these direct waters right here. That's one of our stories. And so, sledging it is unacceptable. Making it deeper so the bigger tankers could go through, no. But sorry, continue.
Has Tsleil-Waututh had any direct involvement with the pipeline and tanker issue over this past year, and the talks about increasing volumes?
Guided by our elders in working with Chief and Council, there has no, but we're talking, and we're consulting. We have to consult with our elders, of course, but I'm here bringing a concern.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you coming to speak to this, and because our partnership on all this is really important, and ways that we can work together on this. I think that there's one element of the plan right now that I think needs some more attention, more focus in the years ahead, is related to the marine environment that surrounds us, to our great river, and it's not technically in the city's jurisdiction, but I think we ignore it at our peril, and I think we have a responsibility to. It feeds us, it supports us in so many ways, and all of us around this region now have to figure out how to collaborate more effectively and deal with the decision makers who are making questionable choices in some cases that will affect how people here live. So we look forward to partnership, and Haichka, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. George, and I do apologize for both skipping you over and not having you further up the list. We are in the process of working on some protocols with the Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh about meetings and events in the city of Vancouver, and ensuring that we're following proper protocols. So I'm sure I have much to apologize for, but today I'll confine it to putting you way down the speakers list, and then missing you on top of that.
And I do thank you, and I do look forward to working with you too, and with my relatives of the other nations as well. So Haichka.